We go back to the WNBA.
Yeah!
Stupidity in Seattle.
Yes, of course.
After Seattle Storm co-owner got suspended for 5 days for yelling at two girls who don't like dudes who like to feel pretty.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. Why?
In women's sports, Sophie Cunningham has entered the chat.
Fuck.
I'm Jazz Berganzo on this. After calling out the Storm for going full retard,
What the fuck?
her fans, yeah, they've only just begun to fight. But it's what's next. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Jazz Berganzo, what's next? Your daily dose. Happy Friday. And you may be hearing a little noise in the background that sounds like a cricket. Yeah, it does. It's being a pain in the ass today. Anyway, on to the story. Well, of course, we know what's been going on the last 48 hours with Fauci mania, as dumbass Anthony Fauci went in front of Congress, said for a record 111 times, pleads the fifth after, of course, not taking responsibility for the death and mayhem that he caused back in 2020, and of course, all the nonsensical garbage regarding COVID and the poison poke. We're going to step away. We're going to go to sports. We're going to go to WNBA because there's another firestorm that's been going on, that's been raging and even getting bigger, and that is dudes who like to feel pretty in women's sports, Sophie Cunningham, her fans, and the Seattle Storm. We go to this, coming out of Breitbart. Sophie Cunningham rips Storm co-owner who cursed teens defending girls' sports. Truly embarrassing. Yes, Sophie has entered the chat. Indiana Fever guard Sophie Cunningham said on Wednesday that a Seattle Storm co-owner treatment of two teenage fans who support her was truly embarrassing and showed the type of leader she is. Yeah, not much of one. Cunningham posted on X after reports of Storm co-owner Celeste Keaton confronted girls at Climate Pledge Arena on Tuesday. Where they held a sign thanking her for speaking up for them. She built her response around inclusion while praising the teens. I truly believe there's a safe space and love for everyone. Biological girls, boys, trans women, trans men. Yeah, she even really doesn't believe that. Everyone is welcome at my table. You can disagree and still be kind. Bravo to those girls for standing up for what they believe in. You'll be hearing from me. Yay for the gifts. Truly embarrassing for the co-owner. Unfortunately, shows the type of worthless leader that she is. I added worthless, but you pretty much got the gist. The post drew split reaction from replies. One commentator wrote, "People will call you MAGA for having common sense. Continue to be bold." Another mocked her stance, arguing that the fans on the threat stood a better chance of watching Cunningham win the WNBA MVP than you or your future daughters ever having to play against a trans dude. Dude, Coach Dave, let's be specific. Have you not paid attention the last 5 years? High schools, colleges, you know, those things. Dude, you're a moron. The two girls were sitting at the courtside during the Storm's 105-95 loss to the Indiana Fever. Yay for the Fever. They wore XXXY athletic shirts, apparel from former gymnast Jennifer Say's company, which says it works to protect women's sports and spaces from dudes who like to feel pretty. The teens alleged Keaton approached them and called them effing insane, leaving one of them in tears. They recounted the exchange on Brandy Krause's Undivided podcast. Quote, "I've never been yelled at like that before," one of the girls said, "but that just caught me by surprise because I thought she was going to be nice." She's Lebanese. Did you think anything? Well. She started screaming at us and cussing at us. Krause, who accompanied the girls into the arena, alleged that Storm players also directed thumbs down gestures at them during the game. She said that girls lowered their signs out of fear, not because they were ordered to. Cunningham's post came after WNBA fined Keane for undisclosed amount and suspended her for 5 games. Majority owner Jenny Gilder apologized in Wednesday's statement, saying that team was, quote, aware of one of our co-owners made a comment to 2 fans in attendance and remained committed to an inclusive environment. Cunningham voiced support for burying trans mental athletes from women's sports in an ESPN profile published earlier this month. She was not made available by the Fever to answer questions after Tuesday's game. Quote, "I want to protect young girls in the locker room and young girls in sports who shouldn't have to go against dudes, real guys who think they're chicks," Cunningham said. And we go from that to this. Of course, the WNBA faces growing Sophie Cunningham movement as new rallies are set for Fever games in Oregon and Minnesota. Organizers say they want to stand in public solidarity with Sophie Cunningham after two teenagers were left in tears.
Rally on the books when we started the Seattle rally, but I was not sure if we were going to publicize it before seeing how the Seattle event went. And the Seattle event had such a positive reception. Of course, there was the horrible, unfortunate incident that happened to the teen girls inside the stadium, but outside the stadium, we had positive reception. And after seeing that, and after seeing what happened to the girls, I just decided, you know what? I don't want to be quiet about this. I want to stand in public solidarity with those girls.
Amen.
I also want to stand in public solidarity with Sophie and keep this momentum going, because I feel like the public outrage at what happened to those girls is heartening, as it should be. I mean, the outrage should happen, and I just think, yeah, now is the time to keep standing up and not keep it private, but do it loud, do it proud, and yeah, just be there again as cheerleaders and in support of all women and girls.
Mm-hmm. Are you?
Oh, sorry about that. Sophie Night is coming to Democratic strongholds this weekend. Upcoming WNBA games in Portland and Minneapolis will feature, Minneapolis will feature rallies outside the arenas in support of Indiana Fever guard Sophie Cunningham, a fan favorite teammate of Caitlin Clark, who has spoken out in defense of women's sports. A rally in Portland will be led by Washington-based activist Amy Sousa, who helped organize the Cunningham rally outside Seattle's Climate Pledge Arena this past Tuesday. A second rally in Minneapolis will be held by XX and XY Athletics founder and former gymnast national champion Jennifer Say. And of course, these are just more stupidity in Seattle, people going full retard over facts and common sense. Sousa said organizers already had a smaller important gathering in mind, but were unsure whether they would publicize it. The national controversy has erupted after Seattle games convinced them to make it bigger and louder. Quote, we're just going to do something quiet. With a couple of us and seeing what happens to those girls. We just thought we can't be quiet, Sousa told Fox News Digital. A Portland rally is scheduled for 5:30 p.m. Friday outside of Moda Center before the Fever face off against Portland at 7. The Minneapolis rally will take place of Indiana's noon game against the Minnesota Lynx, at the Target Center on Sunday. And of course, I'll be doing some serious editing here because, of course, the internet. Anyway, the fact of the matter is that when you have two girls who were at the game who just posted a sign that says, she speaks for us, we're glad that she supports us, supports common sense and facts. And then when you have the idiot co-owner of the Seattle Storm rage on them because of butthurt feelings, she is Lebanese. Anyway, and then you had fans of the Seattle Storm, idiot morons, chastising these two girls for just, again, talking about common sense and facts. This is the state of society in 2026. So no one should be surprised that the WNBA is A, full of angry black lesbians, and 2, is owned by a lot of lesbians. There's no surprise there. So these girls are outnumbered. But when you have one of their own players, not one of Seattle's players, but one of the league's own players, and one of the league's biggest names, Sophie Cunningham, step up and say, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I don't like dudes who like to feel pretty in women's spaces. I don't like them in private spaces. I don't like them in women's sports. Oh no, let's go after her. And then when ESPN and others try to, push her back, probably some backlash, Sophie stands her ground and says, yeah, I said what I said. I meant what I meant. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. That's exactly what's going to be done about it. Absolutely nothing. So I'm glad for these rallies. And, I really hope, they take off and pretty much, I think it's going to be great. But then now what makes it even more interesting is Sophie's comments when she says, yeah, there's more to come. I've got more to say. And oh my, it should be interesting. And with that being said, I'm Jazz Berganzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more like this? Please leave a comment below. Like it, share, subscribe to it, hit the notification bell so you guys never miss a thing. Continue spreading the word about the show. Appreciate you guys watching as always. And we'll see you next time. Peace.